On the match preview today, we're going to be talking about Manchester United versus Nottingham Forest. We're going to be talking about Erik ten Hag and what changes he potentially needs to make to his starting 11. We obviously know players kind of playing out of position, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the midfield issues as well, and how that can be fixed. We're going to look at the opposition in terms of Nottingham Forest. We're going to give you our predicted 11 and the 11 that I would pick, and of course then we're going to be doing a score prediction as well. Please hit like and subscribe, get your comments in below. Let's get right into it. So we're going to start with the forward line with Manchester United, and look, we do know that we're struggling to score goals. It's only 2 games in so far this Premier League season, and we're kind of carrying on the trend from last year as well. United struggled to score goals last year, and we were over-reliant on Marcus Rashford so much last year to get the amount of goals that he did. And we see, of course, Marcus Rashford pretty much being played out of position for the opening 2 games of the Premier League season. And he just hasn't adapted. He hasn't coped with it. He's not suited to the number 9 role. I don't think he knows how to play it. He's just not good with his back to the goal, basically. I think Marcus Rashford playing as a number 9, basically you need to be able to play him on the halfway line where you can get the ball to him and he has 30 or 40 yards in behind the defence to run into and use his pace. I think that's his game, and I think it's more effective when he does it on the left-hand side. So that is something that's going to have to be addressed by Erik ten Hag this weekend. Is he going to play Marcus Rashford out of position again, or does he bite the bullet and move him out onto the left-hand side? I think he has to go out onto the left. He is by far our most dangerous player in terms of goals, on the back of course, what he done last year. But that brings up another dilemma. Who do you play in the number 9 role? Do you bring Anthony Martial back, who's maybe not fully fit? Do you maybe chance Rasmus Højlund? There is reports suggested that he is going to be involved in the matchday squad this weekend. Or do you maybe play Jadon Sancho there as a false 9? He played through the middle a lot in pre-season as well. Look to be quite comfortable in that position as well. That would then allow you, obviously, to move Marcus Rashford out onto the left-hand side. So there is going to be dilemmas, and there is going to be headaches for Erik ten Hag this weekend. Let me know what you would do in the comment section below. I think it's vital more than anything else that Marcus Rashford goes out onto the left-hand side. Now, the other side, we're talking about Anthony here, and Erik ten Hag's reluctancy to drop him over the last maybe 6 months, you would say, after some very poor performances. Now, look, I do know there's not an abundance of talent to go in on that right-hand side. We know that Ahmad is currently injured. He's working his way back to full fitness. So, Anthony hasn't got a lot of competition for that right-hand side position. I do think we have to make a change there, though. Again, I would look at, if you were to bring maybe a Martial back in, or Rasmus Højlund is able to play, or maybe 45 minutes apiece, and you don't have to play Sancho through the middle, I think it could be quite feasible that Sancho plays on the right-hand side. He played there a number of times last year. We know when he was with Dortmund, that was primarily where he played. And I liked what I seen, even last season, the few cameo roles that he did play on the right-hand side. So Anthony needs, in my opinion, some time out of the starting 11. He needs to, get his head right. He needs to realise that he's not going to pick up a jersey every week. And he needs to up his game more than anything else. And I think Sancho could provide some stiff competition there for him. Now, let's talk about the midfield. Look, we do know that it's the main area of concern at the moment for us. I've seen a lot of comments over the last week or so that Casemiro is finished, he's past it, all of this kind of stuff. And I think it's complete and utter nonsense. A number of reasons for this. I think Casemiro obviously is the wrong side of 30. Now that doesn't mean that he's past it or anything like that, but it's going to take him a bit of time to get up to match speed, you would expect. But I think the more pressing reason is because we haven't got that new 3 in the midfield. We haven't got really a cohesion between them. There doesn't seem to be much communication. Casemiro is asked to cover basically the entire width of the pitch because Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes too many times have got caught far up the field together and are not providing enough defensive cover to Casemiro as well. So look, I mean, I got no worries about Casemiro. He's going to be completely fine. I think the tackles that he's won and how he reads the game and his positioning is very, very good. I just think in the last 2 games he's been asked to do too much. Now, let's move on to Mason Mount. A lot of A lot of fans calling for Mason Mount to be dropped as well. And look, that may be the case. I'm not 100% sure. Who do you bring in instead of him? Do you go with, Scott McTominay, for example, who didn't even get off the bench last weekend? So I think Mason Mount is more than likely going to start. And look, we can't judge Mason Mount on the back of 2 performances for Manchester United. He's getting used to his new teammates. He's getting used to the way his manager wants him to play. He's settling in at the club. He's got the number 7 on his back, so there's going to be pressure there. You can't judge a player off the first 2 games. Give him time. He'll be okay, in my opinion. I think he's going to be a good signing for us. If we were to judge every player off their first 2 games, there'd be a lot of players that are legends of the club, not just with United, but I presume with other clubs, that would probably never have got to that level if we had to judge them so quickly. Patrice Evra jumps to mind, for example. His first 5 or 6 games for Manchester United were absolutely atrocious. And I think he himself even admitted that he was kind of thinking, I need to go back to where I came from because, back to his old club, because he just wasn't settling in. So it's going to take time. Our midfield is going to have to improve though, because we're too easy played through in midfield. Again, I go back to the Casemiro scenario where he's asked to do too much defensive work himself. I think that's probably why it's vital that we get a number 8 in, like an Amrabat or a Gravenberch, these types of more defensive minded players. But it is going to be an area that we do have to improve on. Now, let's talk about the opposition at Nottingham Forest. Now, look, they come into the game with Manchester United equal on points. They've got 3 points out of their opening 2 games. They lost narrowly to Arsenal in their opening game of the season, and then subsequently went on to beat Sheffield United 2-1 last week. Now, look, this team is not to be taken for granted either, especially with the form that United have brought in and the intensity levels that United have brought into their first 2 games. We're going to have to improve that an awful lot. They've got goals in their team. We've seen Chris Wood with a goal last week, and also their striker, I'm probably going to pronounce this completely wrong, but Awan Ai, I think. Awan Ai? I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, he scored 2 goals, a goal in each of the first 2 games of the season for them. So, I mean, look, it's going to be a difficult place to go, and we're not going to get anything easy. And Manchester United really need to up the intensity levels. They really do. Sorry, I said it's not going to be an easy place to go. The game is actually on in Old Trafford. But, yeah, I mean, it's not going to be an easy game. You would be expecting, because we are at home, that, Manchester United are going to try and, I suppose, put the wrongs right over the last 2 games. The intensity levels, the physicality, the chance conversions, more so than anything else. We're creating chances. Story of our lives last season as well. Creating all of these chances and not putting any of them away. So that's going to be the big, I suppose, question mark over Manchester United. Because Nottingham Forest won't back down from us. They'll go for it, they'll have a go, and they'll try and get 3 points. Their backs will be up and their confidence levels will be high on the back of United's performances in the last 2 games. So we're going to have to be on our toes. Okay, so when we're looking at a starting 11, I'm going to give you the 11 that I would start personally, and it's maybe the 11 that I think is probably going to be picked by Erik Ten Hag as well. I think the back 4, back 5, there's not an awful lot of change we need to worry about there. I'm going to go with Onana in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, Varane and Martinez, same as the last 2 games. Now look, you could say, would you swap maybe Wan-Bissaka for Delort? I don't think I would. I think while nobody really played well on the weekend against Spurs, I don't think Aaron Wan-Bissaka done anything overly wrong. Luke Shaw, on the other hand, was at fault for the first goal, but do we have any cover there? We don't really. Obviously, Malastia is still out injured. So I'm going to go with the same back 5. And I think it's, it's a back 5 that we should be really keeping a clean sheet with because it's our strongest. I think in midfield as well then, guys, this is obviously an area of big discussion with Manchester United fans and opposition fans as well over the last couple of games. But I do think that Erik Ten Hag is probably going to go with the same midfield 3. Casemiro, Bruno and Mount. I mean, you could potentially bring Christian Eriksen in there for Mason Mount. I still would worry about the lack of energy levels that Christian Eriksen brings to the team, and if we're talking about physicality, it's basically non-existent with him as well. He does give you a lot of quality on the ball, but I don't think we're lacking chance creation. I mean, we should have been 2-0 up before Spurs got a shot on target last weekend as well. So I think for that reason, I think Erik ten Hag is probably going to stick with the same midfield. Now, and when we're talking about the forward line, again, this is probably the area of the field that we could discuss and we could chop and change more than anything else. And it is a hard one to predict, in my opinion. And the forward line that I've gone with depends on one player in particular being fit, and that's Anthony Martial. I'm going to go with a forward line. If I was picking it, if Martial is fit, I would put Martial in there as the number 9. I'd put Rashford back out on the left, and I would bring Jadon Sancho in on the right-hand side. That, of course, then does mean you're dropping both Antony and Garnacho, and I think that is the right call. I really do. Now, you could potentially move Jadon Sancho into the false 9 position, bring in someone like Pellistri on the right-hand side, but I do think, more than anything else, that Antony and Garnacho shouldn't start the game on the back of their first 2 performances. Now, we know Garnacho is young. He'll have plenty of time to correct this. And Antony just needs to improve his game all round because he hasn't been good enough under any circumstances. So that's going to be my starting 11, guys. Let me know, do you agree? Do you disagree? What would your starting 11 be? Let me know in the comment section below. Yeah, I'll give my opinion on all of your starting 11 predictions below. Now, a score prediction. If we're going with a score prediction for this game, again, it's a hard one. I do think Manchester United are favourites going into the game. Nottingham Forest have scored 3 goals in 2 games. United have scored 1. So I'm still going to put United down as favourites. The game, of course, is at home. And I think, United are struggling for goals, really, aren't they? A lot is going to depend on the starting lineup. Is Martial playing? Is Rasmus Højlund going to come in? Is Rashford back out on the left-hand side? I think if all of them, or if at least 2 of them are the case, I think we can get a pretty decent result here. I'm going to go with a score prediction of 2-0 to Manchester United. I have a feeling this could be a bit of a turning point depending on the starting 11 that's picked by Erik ten Hag. And I think if we do go with the starting 11 that maybe I predicted, maybe you could change Martial for Rasmus Højlund if he's fit, or, Sancho into the middle with Pellistri on the right-hand side, maybe so. But I think United should have enough to get the job done. But again, I will reiterate, we can't take anything for granted, and we need to increase our tempo, increase our intensity levels, increase our physicality, and increase our finishing and quality. A lot of things need to be checked there. But I do think United should get the job done. Let me know your score predictions in the comment section below, guys. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already. We're on the road to 4,000 subscribers. So with your help, we can get there. I do appreciate it. We won't have a watch along this weekend because I'm away for a few days, but I will be giving my match reactions and stuff like that after it as well, so keep an eye out for that also. And of course, we're back every weeknight from 7:30 for the Manchester United news show, so make sure you're tuning in for that as well. But thanks for watching, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.